Hi guys, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. I really sincerely appreciate your time, so thank you so much for clicking on any of my videos. In case you did not see it, this is called the Annam Wrap by Annie Design Crochet. It is 2 skeins of sport weight yarn, and this is made with Leading Men Fiber Arts yarn in the colorway Aquamarine. It's a really nice, easy 4-row repeat. So I absolutely encourage you to give it a try. You've got some really nice shells of these stitches here, and then you've got some chain spaces. So yeah, check out my video from last week if you have not seen it to see a little bit more about that shawl or that wrap. But today I don't have any finished projects to share with you. I am working on something, but it's not done yet, so I want to wait and share that with you next week. And I am not generally one who does like, here's what I made all in the month of whatever. So I decided to kind of revert back to my roots. Some of my first videos were called what? ... What's in that tote? What's on that quilt rack? You know, I kind of went through a box or a tote with you. And I haven't seen this stuff in a long, long time since I've kind of boxed it up or toted it up. You know, my finished projects, kind of get them out of my way until I know what I'm going to do with them. So I thought, why not kind of revisit some of these and share with you what I've got sitting in storage that I need to find a recipient for. So, and I do a lot of donating towards the end of the year, you know, with hats or scarves or even some blankets at that point. So these are ones that I've kind of had since my last donation time. So let's just kind of open one and see what's going on. Oh, this was nice. And this is all, as I went through and put these things in totes, I labeled them on the outside of the tote of what's inside, but I'm not looking at that. So everything that I'm touching or pulling out of here is real time with you. So let's see how much of the yarn I remember. This is, oh, see, and I have some note tags on some of them for sale. This one is a 51 by 37 inches. It's sort of it's touching the ground right now, and I'm a good 5'7", 5'8". So this is a really nice size blanket. This, I believe, is some like Karen Big Cake or something. It's definitely a bulky. This pattern that is worked is 2 rows of double crochet at the same time, and if you can see here, I've done it with a back loop only stitch. So you've got this row kind of separating every time there's another row. It's got one little loop here. Big size, big good size, nice big good size. So super, super warm and comfy. Look at all those colors. I miss this. You know, they're in the beginning when I was starting out with, you know, trying to collect some inventory, I went through a lot of color changing cakes. So sweet rolls and big Karen cakes, you know, all of those. And so this was definitely one of those that just changed color on its own, and I just love it. And that back loop only gives it a little bit of a texture. So as I run my hand over it, I can feel that. Super nice. Oh, I love that one. So if you are interested in doing this 2 double rows of crochet, 2 rows of double crochet done at the same time, I have a tutorial for that. So please go check that out. All right. What's my next one? Okay. This one is a toss back. I remember making this one. We had a friend here on YouTube called Llamas in Pajamas. Mr. Pajamas would go on and give us llama vision and share skeins of yarn as Jude was purchasing them. And so I remember making this one because this is made all with Karen Simply Soft and loops and threads, soft and thin. What is it called? Whoops, I've got some different ones. Here's the Soft Secret from Yarn Bee. So it's all these that have this like super kind of shiny, soft. And so this was, I did this, I believe, in like the Never Ending Granny. Let's get to the center of it and see what we can see. So yeah, I think this was a Never Ending Granny, where I just went round and round and round and round. Maybe I just did rows. Maybe I just did rounds. Let's see. It's hard to tell now. Maybe I just did rounds. But this is all circus colorway, I think is what this one was called. And Jude had just done a blanket or worked with some yarn that was similar to this. So I looked up in my stash and I saw this yarn sitting there, and definitely thought of Jude. So, you know, all of the things that I'm going to share with you here, show you, have got videos out there if you want to dig back into the recesses of my videos and find some of these where they were actually presented in the first place. This one is appears to me to be a C2C in scrap. I absolutely love a C2C, and if you throw scraps in there to make it all wonky, delicious, squishy, I love it. It's very, very thick and dense, and these are all just different scraps of yarn from different makes. I mean, I feel like they're all acrylic. They should all be acrylic, or maybe acrylic with a little bit of wool in it, like the Karen Cakes had an acrylic and wool blend. But yeah, if you just start, you know, do your C2C and just change yarns whenever your yarn runs out. Or if you want to, like, sometimes I have too much, so I specifically break it off so that it looks a little bit more like a scrap. But this is a good size too. Oh, I forgot to tell you how big the circus one was. This one is touching the ground now, so much more than a lap blanket, maybe not quite a full sleep blanket, but definitely a lap blanket. And I didn't border this one, as you can see. Sometimes I don't think a blanket needs a border, right? Let me hold up the circus one and see how big it is. All right, let's see here. So I know that I made it more of a rectangle than a square, obviously. And so this one is touching the ground, and it definitely a good full-size sleep cover or whatnot. So yeah, I really like this one. And I still have quite a bit of different colored scraps up in here. This is all my Karen Simply Soft. And what's that other one? Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Nope. Here, the Loops and Threads. This is what this one is. Soft and Shiny. I couldn't remember my label name. Soft and Shiny. So that's what's in here. In my every couple of rows, that's what's in here. And I was trying to get rid of, I guess, some solids that match, that go with it. So, yay, good size. I'm gonna have a mess to clean up when I'm done with this video. All right, we've got another scrappy here. This one is, again, 2 rows of double crochet done at the same time. This one's definitely a lap blanket. I've got it touching the ground right now, so kind of wide, a little bit wider. And yeah, just again, I just love going through all my acrylic scraps and kind of putting stuff together, seeing what I still have, remembering, oh, I made a blanket for my dad out of that. Oh, I made a such and such for somebody out of that, or, you know, whatever. Remember them through the years. I think this is that Craft Smart. I love this one. Craft Smart from Michaels, I think. So yeah, another good size. I've got a sachet in here somewhere, and it smells yummy. I always remember sachets. My mom always had, you know, potpourri sachets in her, like, underwear drawer and stuff like that. So they always remind me of her. So yeah, again, I have a tutorial for doing 2 rows of double crochet at the same time. And that's upside down. Of course, I always show you upside down. So that's what that looks like. All right. And then the last one in here, I remember this. This was a very, very much a challenge for me. This was the Ogos. When the Ogos very first came out, there were different fibers. Ooh, there were different fibers. This one happened to be an all acrylic that was in a worsted weight. And I know that some of the other acrylics that were in worsted weight, they felt different to me. I don't know. I'm remembering weirdly, but from Ogo, this is my final full Ogo cake. This was another one that, like, in the beginning, it wasn't when Ogos first came out, but after they'd been out a little while and started going on clearance, I bought up a bunch at the store. And I thought it was really cool because when I bought this yarn, I was at the store and there's a QR code on here. So you could click on that and see different patterns. So give you ideas on what you want to make. And then you could buy the yarn that would go with it because it would tell you right within that QR code. So while the rest of my Karen Big Donuts and all the other Ogos that I had purchased were like of one grouping at one time, you know, clearance or otherwise, this specific yarn I remember buying from that QR code. I clicked on that QR code, I got this pattern, I bought the yarn required to make that pattern, and I was very, very excited about it. And so in doing so, I wasn't paying too close attention to the stitches that were in this pattern, and it really, really challenged me. So this, I remember it was called Newsprint, was the colorway, and it's kind of like some beige and different tones of gray, some darker gray and some lighter gray and some white. And it had all these crisscrosses. And so for me to do these crisscrosses was very difficult in the beginning. Like I got to that part in the pattern and was like, what am I doing? I don't know how to do that. Or I do it with a lot of struggle. Like I was frustrated with myself. And I can kind of remember back to one of the first times I just jumped into a pattern, not looking at what the pattern was going to be, and then had to kind of teach myself or learn it on the fly. So that is definitely what happened with this pattern. And it is a one-sided pattern. The back side is just flat. There's nothing, no texture. You don't see any nice stitches or anything like that on the front side. I'm on the back side. But on the front side, you definitely see these crisscrosses. So that was a lot of pride for me to get through this and figure it out and learn it and then do it. And initially when I was making this, here's a little insight to Amy's brain. Initially when I was making this, I had somebody in mind who was getting married, a friend of mine that was getting married. And I was going to give this to her, to give to them, whatever. And I like chickened out. I'm like, nobody wants my crochet. What am I doing? I hate putting it on people that don't want it. So I just like bought off her registry or something, just like everybody else. And it's really kind of a kicker to me. I really, really, really wish I had given this to her. So let's see if I got a tag on there. It is 49 by 43. It is touching the ground now. So a nice sort of couch, you know, snuggle up under the blanket while you're watching a movie on TV kind of thing with your esposo, with your spouse or whatever, your bestie, your other half. And then just a couple of, I guess, double crochet rows to be my border. I don't remember if that was in the pattern or not, but again, like I really remember being very excited about this and proud of it. And then my confidence just dropped in giving it to her. So, you know, how does that make you feel? Do you learn from that? Do you give it to him next time? Do you give it to him years later anyway? Hey, I was thinking about you when I made this, so here it is. You know, I really, really enjoyed finishing it. I remember that, like, okay, I'm done with it. So, okay, guys, that was one tote, and I'm at 15 minutes in. So let me open one more tote with you, make this a little bit longer, and then we'll see where we're at. Alrighty, my next tote here has one of my most favorite patterns of all time right on top. And I remember being in the zone with this yarn and this pattern. The pattern is by Hooked by Robin. And this is, you can find this pattern by searching Karen Big Cakes. I remember that very, very specifically. So it's a really nice pattern. You've got a row or, you know, a group of double crochets, and then you do a shell. And on the opposite side, the shell has a chain one, skip one kind of thing. And then you put the next shell in that chain space. So I'll come up closer here. You can see it's kind of a pattern that I could run on autopilot with because I had done it so much. Again, back in the beginning when I was collecting yarn for my stash, I found a lot of Karen Big Cakes, and I don't have a tag on this one. Some of them I did, some of them I didn't. This one is just more of a very standard lap blanket. It's touching the ground. You can barely see it there at my waist. And it's a little bit wider than maybe I would normally go if you sit with a friend. I don't know. But this pattern, I absolutely love it. I've done it a billion times. Upside down again. Upside down again. Here we go. So again, you do these clusters. Oops, I'll show you like this. You do the cluster with a chain one, skip one. Oh, I am so bad at this. Cluster, chain one, skip one or something, and then your double crochets, and then on the next way around, your cluster goes into that space. Robin's got a wonderful tutorial on this. I highly suggest you go find it and do it if you have not already. This colorway was just beautiful. I think this one was called Blueberry, maybe Boysenberry, something like that. They were all in the berries. So, and then I don't know what I did at the top here. Maybe some half doubles. The purple and the white are half doubles, it looks like, and then the gray and the purple are single crochets. So, you know, you get to that point where she does great border tutorials. She'll explain that very well in her videos. But sometimes I go out on my own, so I never know whether the border that's on a blanket is actually the one that came with a pattern or if I just made it up as I went. Okay, this one is also, like, all of these are striking such great memories with me. And, you know, everybody's got their own path, you know, with their crochet journeys. But this was a really good one for me. So this, again, I'm trying to remember if this was definitely, I remember Bernat Pop. There were a bunch that I had, both Karen, and then these had to be from the Bernat Pop. There was a lot, I had like 3 or 4 different ones that had greens in them, and I would get them all mixed up. And I remember searching, you know, on eBay to buy some, and they were like pistachio and, oh, now I'm not remembering, but there were multiple colors, and they're color changing cakes. So that's why I thought, oh, look at me. I don't ever have to change yarn. I can just keep crocheting. But so in this case, I did a bunch of these hexagons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not hexagons. What's a sixagon? I don't know, whatever a sixagon is. I don't remember right now. So, and then you've got halves here. I made them really, really big. Tried to mix up some colors. Tried to go with the color changing of the cake. So like right here, like normal Amy or like specific Amy isn't gonna like that this beige goes only around a certain portion. It doesn't go around the whole side of the green down here. But that's just the way the cake was playing out. Let's see, some of these others. I like all that blue. Look at that kind of aqua, all the different colors. Oh, I really enjoyed this one. I can remember putting them together and saying, okay, should that be next to that one or next to that one? Look at all the different colors. Oh, see, this is again where Amy just has to let it go, because I would not have liked that I don't have purple on all of that row all the way around, but Amy let it go, and that made me happy. So let's see. This is a little bit bigger. It's touching the ground now, so a good full size and a friend. So I have no idea where I picked up the pattern for this. But I do like to do back loop only when I'm connecting them. So you can see it's got like this little layer where you've got the front loop of the blue here that I didn't use and the front loop of the gray that I didn't use. So now it creates these great borders between the, not the squares. What am I thinking? Anyway, beautiful, beautiful blanket. I love this one. I love this one. All right, we got 2 more in this tote, I think. This next one, if you were with me for a bit, you may have seen this one that was quite a work in progress. Oh, I'm shaking the table. Sorry about that. This was, I remember the word toy box on this yarn, I don't think that I have any of it left. I think it might have been a 5-weight because it feels a little bit thicker. And I had 2 colorways. One that was all like oranges and one that was like blues and greens. So I worked on this for a little while because there was a bunch of like trying to plan it that I was working on. And it came out really, really good. So if you remember my patchwork quilt or patchwork Afghan or whatever you want to call it, I made these squares that were all different kind of combinations of color based on the way that the squares, the skeins were playing out. And now this is one where you'll see, normally when you're doing a never ending or you're going in the same direction, the square will skew a little bit. So to avoid that, some people will go around and then flip it and go back in the other direction so that that skewing that never happens. But the colors pool a little bit differently. And this is a perfect example of that. So you can see how the green went and then I flipped it and went back with the green. It's, in other patterns, the green would go round and round and round. But in this one, because I was trying to keep that skewing from happening, I would flip it and then, so at the meeting point, just go back the other way. And so like all the green is here, all the blue stays here instead of continuing to go around. So, just different ways for people to do the same thing, but I made some big squares and I made some little squares and some medium-sized squares. I just really enjoyed this one. And I enjoy like the engineer in me that I got from my dad, to lay out squares, whether it's, regular squares or hexagons or whatever. I like to lay them out and see what goes where. How do I like it? Trying to be creative and make it look the best. I never wanted 2 blues touching, so kind of did these catty corners, whatever you call it. So yeah, this was another really fun one. See here, you can see the pooling again with the way you flip the square around. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. If you want to hold it lengthwise like this, it's touching the ground, so it's a really good size blanket. Maybe sleep length, maybe for a little bit smaller person, shorter person because I'm so tall. And then good width. So yeah, I remember this one being one of my faves that I worked on. I say that a lot. I love crochet, you guys. In case you didn't know, Amy loves crochet. Alrighty, and the final blanket may not be that exciting to anybody. Another scrapper that I did in this chevron stitch. So there's a lot of different ways to do the chevrons or the waves. There's a lot of different counts that you can do where you're basically dealing with a valley and a hill. So you reduce as you come in, and then when you go up to the top, you do extra so that it fans out the top. Some people make these super jagged. Some people make it more in a wave. So it really just depends on what you want to do, how you want your design to come out. And again, just being scrap, I would just kind of grab. I will make scrap, but I work towards making it look random, which is kind of the backwards from the way it's supposed to be. Like you should just grab it, right? But I grab and I compare what's near it, and do I want another of that color that's near it. So yeah, depending on what you want to do with your scraps, whether you group colors, you could do it kind of an ombre and group some colors together. I just like to make it as mixed matchy as I possibly can. And I just did this with regular granny square stitches. You can make the chevron or the wave in more of a solid patch where you do 1 double crochet in each stitch kind of thing. Whereas with this is a cluster of 3 normal granny square is a cluster of 3 double crochets, and then you skip some, or you have the next space to go into. So that's what I've got here. And then I just repeated it up at the top to give you a blue border. I had a whole bunch of blue, and I think I've mostly worked through it. It was kind of a mill ends kind of thing where I remember getting it at Joann's in just like this huge bin, and there were 4 skeins of the same color of yarn, and I had gotten some blues and some browns. So worked through all the browns more quickly than I did the blues, but so I used the blue to border this. So that's the only thing that's like not scrappy about this one, is that the blue was very intentional, and I still have a whole lot more of the blue, so I could have kept going with that. And let's see. So touching the ground, maybe lap blanket for the couch with a friend, or if you did it long ways, it is touching now. So that would be a good sleep length for your bed if that's what you just chose on. All right, guys, that's 2 totes that we got through for this video. I've got a bunch more, not all blankets, quite a few sort of wraps and shawlettes that I like to wear up in the front. And so we'll just kind of use this on a playlist, you know, to go through what's in the, you know, and that way when I have finished projects that I can share with you, obviously that's my intention. But when I don't have a finished project yet that week, these are going to be some other things that I can bring to you. You deserve more. I want to do more for you. And when I don't have a finished project, I kind of rack my brain a little bit. What can I share? So hopefully you'll enjoy going through these totes with me and seeing what I've got kind of in storage or whatever. If you're interested in any of them, let me know. We can work something out. But that's what I've got to share with you this week, you guys. I hope everybody's doing well. Have a wonderfully blessed day, and I hope you'll come back and see me again. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.